Hey, Bo. I'm making this video as a response to some of your very impressive, very articulate, um, thought-provoking information videos, whatever. I just wanted to share a couple stories with you because people say when it comes to race, oh, yeah, I can imagine what it's like. Oh, I know how you feel. Oh, yeah, sure, I get it. You don't. Let me tell you what happened to me. Uh, when I was 17 years old, I was a dumbass and decided I wanted to go into the Navy, wanted to be a diver. Well, my parents signed the paperwork when I was 17. I went in right after I turned 18 because I was on the delayed entry program, and I went into basic training. Met people from every combination of life. We had people from Fiji, we had people from the Philippines, lots of people from the Philippines. They just wanted a better life, and if they served 2 tours with us, they could become citizens, which was I thought was pretty cool. And anyway, we saw everybody from little short dudes to tall fat dudes to everybody, every color. We had guys from El Paso, Texas, and San Antonio, and Houston, and Ohio, and we had one of those giant black dudes said he was from L.A. I said, where at? Lower Alabama. Anyway, we got along, and they kept us so busy. We never had a chance to tribalize. You worked with the guy next to you, whether he was black, white, uh, whether he swished when he walked or he was, looked like he rugby captain. And we just stayed busy. We never even thought about uh, being racist. We just did our thing. We were a unit, a Company 210, San Diego, the mighty, mighty 210. Then I went to A school in the Great Lakes. Same thing. Never thought of it. We just all sat around and visited and talked and thought how cool it was to learn about different cultures and different race and what it was like back home. And we just fell in love with all these different stories and different people that I stay in touch with 42 years later. I hate saying that. But anyway, long story longer, I ended up in Arkansas after I got out of the Navy, worked for a shipyard, and they were in between jobs, so I moved out there to work for a power plant and ended up working for a gas company. And one of the guys that worked for the electric company, black gentleman, and I would park our trucks, door to door so we could just BS the end of the day. And I got to the shop one day, and somebody said, hey, what you doing talking to that nigger? I ain't going to use his name, but I said, well, he's a buddy of mine. I said, oh, man, you ain't back. You're in the South now. You don't pull that shit. And I didn't know what to say. I was like, hey, I'm a surfer from Orange County, California. We weren't raised like that. Oh, yeah. We had our neighborhoods and that kind of thing, but we never didn't talk to somebody like that. So anyway, I went home and told my wife, I said, I think we're in trouble because there's some racists here. And she said, well, yeah, what do you think? I said, well, I didn't think I'd have to defend talking to somebody. Anyway, eye opener. That's and I asked one guy, I said, how come you guys don't like these guys? And he said, well, you ain't never lived amongst them. Well, that's true, but you don't have to dislike them because I was living amongst them now, and it was fine. And we all just cut up and that, but they didn't want me associating with them. Okay, fast forward. I moved back to California after a divorce, and I joined the Rotary Club and became the president. Went to South Korea, and I was in this big freaking ordeal. The president of, I think, Daewoo and Hyundai, and big shots for the country. They were all there, and we went to the convention, and then we were going to go do karaoke because that's a big thing. Koreans. I don't know if you've ever been to Korea, but you got to sing. Anyway, I got separated from the pack on the way over there because I was looking in a window and who knows what I was looking at. But I turned around and I was surrounded by these Korean guys, 20 years old, maybe 22, 25, something like that. 6 guys and 6 girls. Hey, Yankee, what the fuck? I go, oh, hey, how's it going? Shilejiman, Yongara Hashi Suisnika. Yeah, fuck you. I said, no. I'm one of the good guys. I'm here. We're going to work on some projects and dig some wells in another country. Yeah, fuck you. Get out of my country. And he pushed me. And that was in 2007. I was born in 59. And you always say, oh yeah, I can imagine what it's like to be a victim of racism. Oh, I know what it must be like. And yeah, I get the idea. No, you don't. The guy pushed me after he called me a Yankee. And the girls were just telling him, basically in Korean, kick his ass, The first time I was pushed, it dawned on me right there while I'm in the middle. Now, I'm a martial artist, but I certainly wasn't going to fight 6 guys in their country. I don't know about well, I would have got my ass kicked is what it was. But, because you learn that right away. Wait a minute. So, and anyway, while I was being pushed, it was like clear as day. Oh, I get it now. I'm singled out because of the color of my skin. They didn't care what I had to say. They didn't care what I had to do. They didn't care that I had just came back from Sri Lanka and helped build 32 homes for people that lost their village. They didn't care that I just donated $10,000 to the Rotary Club. They didn't care that I was an insurance salesman. They didn't care that I had 2 kids. They didn't care that I was there to do good. They saw the color of my skin. And while they were pushing me, I was thinking, this is what I never knew. Had no idea. No idea what it was like. I thought I did. I thought I could say, well, yeah, it must be tough. I didn't know what it was like to get pulled over because I had white skin. I didn't know what it was like to go apply for a bank loan and everybody look at each other like, really? This dude's color is, I never knew what that was like. But I knew what it was like being singled out because of my race, just about ready to get the crap kicked out of me. And one of the guys came around looking for me and said something in Korean. Those guys, oh, so sorry. And they ran. So whoever this guy was saved my life. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is, that was the most eye-opening moment of my life as an adult, surely. So fast forward a little while later, I was in insurance and I do pretty good. I have a big mouth and you'll never outwork me. So I got sent to the home office in South Carolina to visit and talk to, hey, here's what we're doing. And it was the day that they brought the flag down over the state capitol. It was some time back. And so right after Dylan Roof killed those people in the church. So I'm at this big hotel, and I don't know what the name of it. I forgot. Maybe who knows? But, the company puts you up in a nice place. So it's time for breakfast. I go down, and the place is basically empty, and there's these 3 guys, huge. It's like 3 shacks. Shaquille O'Neal's right there. And I looked over at him, and the whole place was empty. And I could have went somewhere and pretended I was working, and I just looked at one of the guys who kind of glanced over at me, and I said, hey, we should probably talk. They just looked at me and said, come on, man. I think we need to talk. Do you mind if I join you for breakfast? They said, oh, man, okay. And one guy moved his water glass out of the way. And so I sat down, and the guy said, well, what's happening, little brother? And I said, I don't even know what to say. I know that the guy that looks like me shot somebody that looked like you for no reason other than hate. And they said, oh, man, you know what? You're right. And so we spent about an hour at breakfast talking, holding hands, exchanging business cards. And I felt so free that I could talk to these guys about something that was so, so serious. And we promised to keep in touch. And we hugged each other. And I was like this little, I'm 5'9", 230, something like that. I worked out at the time. I was pretty buff. These guys could have crushed me like a frickin' rag doll. We just hugged each other, and I walked down the hallway, feeling like, man, we got this shit now. All we got to do is talk. All we got to do is talk to each other, and everything's going to be okay. And it was the International Pentecostal Women's Convention at that hotel, and they got all the hallways and little rooms with your little meeting here, and then at 10 o'clock go over to this one and get some more whatever. And I saw a door open, and there was a black woman inside, and she was being a pastor. She was preaching to the group that was in there. And I just wanted to see who was in there, and I just solved all the world's problems. I just came out of that breakfast that, man, I got some guys on my side, and we're gonna change everything. Just somebody talk to me. I'll tell you how to do this. I looked in the door, and her eyes got so big. All she saw was a guy with a white skin and a bald head with the sun shining right behind me. And just earlier, people that looked like her got shot by people that looked like me while they were in a church service. And the fear in her eyes, I'll never forget for the rest of my life. I will never forget how I honestly believe my heart stopped. And I walked out in the hallway, and I started crying because I thought all we had to do was talk. And this woman was so scared just of my presence because of what had just happened. And I got to tell you, man, it still hurts that somebody that looks like me hurt somebody that looks like them, and it affects everybody, and nobody's talking about it now. I felt like the king after breakfast. I felt like I could go and do anything, and I could talk to anybody. And I put presentations on all the time and make people laugh and make people cry. That feeling was so special when we got up and we hugged and we walked away and we shook hands and we turned around to wave. It was almost like leaving family after Thanksgiving, hey, see you at Christmas. It felt so good. And then that was one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life, that just standing in a doorway scared that woman so bad. I mean, I saw her, and of course, the look on her face. Everybody turned to look at me, and I said, "I'm sorry, I'm looking for the maintenance man." And I got out of there, and I saw her sigh a relief. I thought, that son of a bitch that killed those people, I didn't even know him. I'd never met him. I had no idea. Just looked like they needed killing. And he went in there, and he spent some time, and he thought about it. And what's even worse, there are people that agree with him. And I don't know what to do, and I thought I had the answers, and I don't. And I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to take it and change it. I don't know anything about it. And my son-in-law and my brother-in-law are African Americans. My son-in-law, he's a motherfucker. I'd like to kill him with my bare hands for what he's done. My brother-in-law is one of the most honorable men you could ever meet in your life. Marine Corps officer, musician. He treats my sister like she's a queen. They just happen to have a different skin color, and people don't get to know them. They just see, hey, look at them. Oh, what are they doing out in public? But I just thought I'd tell you, your messages are so important. But when somebody says, oh, I know what it's like, I could imagine, oh, come on, get over it. That was years ago. Come on, let's get real. Let's have